Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining me today on Between the Sundays. We're just going to have the fourth and final edition of our series today on verses that help us deal with anxiety and depression and our thought life. And after this, I would like to go on to verses that help us deal with other emotions, anger, etc. Other things that we struggle with in life, because I want this to be a very real and raw channel where we can talk about real life issues and how God's Word helps us deal with them. So this segment is a little bit harder for me to make because I'm sharing something today that was really hard for me to hear, but I think it could benefit others, and so I am trying to be transparent here and share it with you. It has to do with this verse, so I will read it to you. In 2 Timothy 1:7 it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And so who's given us a spirit of fear? They're all from the enemy, right? And a few years ago, I was deeply struggling with anxiety. I was talking one day with a speaker. I was on a mission trip, and I was telling him about it. And he said to me, "So have you made friends with Satan?" And I could not understand what he meant. And I said, that's one of the reasons I'm here, is I am trying to deal with that. I don't want anything to do with Satan. I don't want to have this problem. And he said, what I mean by that is, are you believing the lies from Satan more than you're believing the truth of God? And, in other words, are you giving him way to your thoughts more than you are embracing what God has to say, or even trying to really dwell on it? And that hit me so much and was honestly exactly what I needed to hear. Because God has not given us a spirit of fear. And the spirit of power that he's given us is through his word, through his being in control of our lives, and us being able to trust him with that. And all of that really, really started to sink in. Maybe not even at that time, but over the next number of months, as I really spent time examining God's Word and in prayer. And I would like to recommend to you highly, highly, highly a book by Beth Moore called Praying God's Word and Breaking Spiritual Strongholds, that had a profound, profound impact on me. I went through that book and read it almost all out loud because a friend of mine had suggested that to me and said it had really helped her. And it helped me immensely. The more I realized some of the places I wasn't really surrendering to God, the places where I was really trying to hold on to things and take control and not allowing him to work, became so much more apparent to me. And I had so much more conviction about that, and it was actually very freeing at that time, as I just repented of that and gave those areas more to God. And so I want to leave you with one more verse. Actually, it's a couple verses. And it's Matthew 11:28-30. It says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." And really, isn't that what we desire when our minds just won't quit? If we go to Him and lay those things down and really surrender them, He'll help us. I hope this blessed you in some way. Have a wonderful day. Bye.